see you. Welcome back, everybody. Peter Lurie alongside my partner, Michelle Yu. And Michelle, we've seen a little bit of something for everybody. And I guess you could say the other Baffert got the job done. But you and I were talking before the race. Getting that race under your belt is always, at least to me, and I know to you, an advantage over a first-timer.
Absolutely, and you saw Patron Dioro also making a big late move as well. Of the first-time starters, Doug O'Neill's horse ran super well. Very similar to how he worked. He was kind of involved early, he swung back, took a breather, and then he came running late. So very formful for how he'd been working in the mornings. I wouldn't be too disappointed on Bobby Bowe. He eyeball dueled the whole way around with Laurel River, and like you said, Laurel River had the race under his belt.
It's a race to grow on. We'll just leave it at that. 16 minutes to post to the Providencia. Looking at the field, a 4-5 favorite here in the 4, going global. You know, it's tough when you come over from Ireland or the UK to make that initial good impression. Well, 2 starts, 2 wins, the Sweet Life and the China Doll.
I liked going global in both of those outings. She was my showviver. She's my showviver again today. Sorry for her. My handicapping is junk today, so she might be handed defeat. The biggest problem for her today is going to be having someone to run at. I am not convinced that any horse in this race really wants the lead. Will it maybe end up being Ivy League from the outside, who has pressed the pace in a couple? Possibly. If it's not her, I don't know, Pete. I don't know who's going to be on the front.
No, yeah, that was the exact same thing I thought. You've got a field of 7 here, and it's just tough. I mean, Ivy League looks like the most likely to make the lead. And knowing Mike Smith, Mike has done this before. Get on the lead, make them realistic to pedestrian fractions, and just steal it. We saw in the first race, it is possible to do that today.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing I can think for her. I mean, she's first-time versus winner. She's the horse with the win at the 9 furlongs, and she did it right off the pace. So it would be logical, I think, for her to go the front. But I mean, if it's not her, I just don't know where else it would come from. Maybe Closing Remarks in here, who you have to kind of like because she won the Cal Cup Oaks. Then she came in the China Doll last time, and she was narrowly beaten by Going Global. So if you're getting Going Global at 4-5 and you're looking at Closing Remarks at 4-1, you're getting a really nice price swing for 3/4 of a length difference.
Absolutely. I mean, there's 3 of them coming out of that same race. Quattrell, to me, is also another one. If you're playing the exotics, or if you're still alive in your pick 5, hopefully this horse is on the ticket. Yes, was a winner of 2 of the last 4 starts. 3rd in the China Doll, behind the 2 that we already mentioned here. But Tyler Bays, Jeff Mullins, this is a combo that's been pretty potent over the last few years. And to me, Tyler Bays is starting to ride with a lot more confidence.
Yeah, and this filly apparently needs a race every time she goes post, where she's on an on-off pattern. She got beat last time, so she could definitely come back to win today. And she hasn't been able to win fresh yet. So the fact that they got that race in the belt and she ran, the decent enough 3rd splitting the field says that she can move forward. I wouldn't count out the one Sensible Cat either. The other horse in here for Carla Gaines, another Calbred. She is coming off a score against open allowance horses. She was able to get Lasix in that win, but she is also a stakes winner. She won the Solviet Problem against Calbreds on the main track, but I think that, she's just as proficient on the turf course. She is a perfect Calbred, a horse that goes short, long, dirt, and turf.
Absolutely. 7 horse, we just talked about Ivy League, Closing Remarks. What about the 5 Royal Address? This will be the 2nd time in this country for this 3-year-old daughter of Dandy Man, who was a winner, multiple winner, in fact, 3 in a row in the UK and Chantilly in France.
All of those going to be going a sprint distance. So this will be the first time we're going to stretch her out. And not only are we going to stretch her out to 2 turns, we're going to go the mile and an eighth. So really going to give her the acid test as far as, do you want to go a route or not? Steve Maiotti told me at one time, you can fool them once into going long if they don't want to do it. This will definitely be pulling the wool over her eyes if she doesn't. Yeah. She's going to get the blinkers off today after just putting them on for that stateside debut. I thought for me she was definitely a wait and see scenario, especially for a horse that likes to come from behind. But you saw the bullet drill from Zoe, and she thinks this horse has a chance.
She is bred for the distance. I will give her that. But you look at the races. What I also thought was interesting was she was a winner on a soft surface, a good, which is our version of firm, and then she was a winner on a heavy surface, which is usually when they're getting a lot of rain. over there in France. So she's proven to be very adaptable to her surroundings. So why not a mile and a half?
That works for horses, right? Like if you have a horse that can do a little bit of everything, whether it be what footing they're on or where they're placed in the race or distances, it just makes for a nice racehorse to have in the barn.
There is the aforementioned Royal Address. What are you seeing?
Oh, it looks good. I mean, as she came over, I saw her. She was super well turned out. I actually really love her walk right now. She gets up underneath herself pretty decently. As they turn her head to the side, she's not going to do it as much, but when she's going straight, she puts her back leg up really high up under her belly, which can translate into a really nice, long, lengthy stride.
Closing remarks, bouncing around a little bit, but nothing that I would consider erratic.
Oh, no, I think this field overall is being pretty darn good, especially considering that it's a little bit warmer out here and we do have fans back on scene. Some of these horses haven't seen so many people in a while, and I think everyone is acting with the plum.
Horses getting ready to come out onto the track. Good crowd on hand here for our Run Happy San Diego Derby Day. And all I can say is 11 minutes to post, 11 minutes to the 5th. Good luck.
Jay Cohen brings them out for the Grade 3 Providencia Stakes. 10 minutes to post. Here's the field for the Providencia. Number 1 is Sensible Cat, owned by Irvin Racing Stable, trained by Carla Gaines. The jockey is Juan Hernandez. Number 2, Quattro L, owned by Red Baron's Barn in Rancho Temescal, trained by Jeff Mullins with Tyler Bays. Number 3 is Derby Quest, owned by Derby and Faulkner, trained by Ruben Gomez with Alexis Centeno. 4, Going Global is owned by Dub, Gewurz, Netwig et al., trained by Phil D'Amato with Flavien Pratt. 5, Royal Address is owned by Marcia Nafee, trained by Neil Drysdale with Mario Gutierrez. 6 closing remarks, owned by Harris Farms, trained by Carla Gaines with Umberto Rispoli. And 7 Ivy League, owned by Ellen J. Foxwoods, trained by Richard Mandela, the jockey Mike Smith. That's the field for the Providencia. 7 minutes.
Zoe Cavan here from the paddock with just a couple of observations. Now we're looking for some value in here. Going Global, by far the one to beat, undefeated stateside in this country, and she looks just as good now as she did last time. But how about some value in here as we turn our attention to the 5 Royal Address for Hall of Famer Neil Drysdale? Gets the blinkers off. I got a chance to speak to Neil about this 3-year-old filly and said, you know, they weren't really sure she needed them in the first place. She does need to go long, and we'll see what she does today. She comes in with a very, very nice, sprightly, happy work over the training track on the 25th. And I think you're getting very good value on a 3-year-old filly trained by a guy who knows what to do with a horse, stretching them out around 2 turns. I like Royal Address in here at a big price of 10-1. Did also get a chance to speak to Carla Gaines about the 6 closing remarks. He's currently 4-1. One of the few that's actually got close to the favorite Going Global in here, and she's getting a little bit hotter than she would like to see. She did say she wasn't quite as hot this time. Her other horse in here, Sensible Cat, of course, she just does what she does, and she's absolutely perfect. But closing remarks getting a little bit hot, and we'll check in with Millie Ball just a little bit later to see if she's calmed down out there. But she does look good on the track right now. 5 minutes to post for race number 5.
The 1.125 Providencia Stakes is coming up next, race number 5. And some observations I have, one of them being that I think the two most likely horses in here to win are both by Memas. Now, he is on fire over in Europe, this sire. He was a really tough racehorse. He was very, very genuine, and both Going Global and Quattroel are by Memas. So I'm interested to see how these two run. I'm going to give the edge to Going Global just because of the most recent work that I saw. Great turn of foot from this 3-year-old filly, and Pratt's obviously really got to know her well. Royal Address, in speaking to Neil Drysdale, he said a mile would be more ideal. He's a little concerned jumping from that distance of a 6-furlong turf sprint to the 1.125. So I do expect to see a little bit more speed. Certainly the filly had shown more speed over in Europe. Closing remarks, I really see this filly running in the money. I think in what Zoe was talking about, I'm looking at her now, and she seems to have been very well behaved all the way down the backside. She walked quietly with the pony. She's getting a nice stroke right now from Rispoli to keep her nice and calm. And Carla works her in the dark, which gives you an indication that she probably is a little bit hot-blooded normally. She went very easy in her work on the 20th and in a good time on the main track for a turf filly. So I give her a good outside look in here, but I think it boils down to the 4 Going Global and the 2 Quattroel. They are loading up for the Providencia.
It's post time for the Providencia. They're loading in. First couple are in. Working on Royal Address, who goes in. Closing remarks loading. Sensible Cat to the inside. And Ivy League. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Providencia. It was a very smooth beginning. Sensible Cat is sprinting clear at once. Royal Address has some speed too. And then Closing Remarks in third. And now guided over to the rail by Umberto Rispoli. Then it's Ivy League in the center of the course, galloping along calmly in fourth, about 4 lengths off the lead. Going Global moves up in between horses. Quattroel down at the rail. And Derby Quest is already more than 15 lengths off the lead. And the leader is Sensible Cat into the first turn. Leads it by 1.5 lengths to Royal Address in second. Closing Remarks a ground-saving third, and Going Global fourth, about 3.5 off the pace. Then Quattroel, Ivy League, and still a long way to Derby Quest. They're on to the backstretch. Chasing Sensible Cat and Juan Hernandez, clear by 1.5 lengths. Royal Address tracking second, and Closing Remarks still third. Going Global fourth with a half-mile left to run, followed by Quattroel, Ivy League, and then Derby Quest. No change into the far turn. Sensible Cat almost 2 in front. Royal Address in second. Closing Remarks now being asked to pick it up at the rail third. Another length to Going Global fourth, now inching up without being asked to do so. And Going Global making her move now. Behind her, Quattroel goes off the rail. Ivy League in the yellow cap. They're at the top of the stretch. Sensible Cat, Going Global, ambles up to her and takes off. Down on the inside, it's Closing Remarks finishing nicely too. It's either Going Global or Closing Remarks. Going Global has the lead 3/4. Closing Remarks trying so hard. Going Global is just too strong. What a nice filly. Going Global wins the Providencia. Closing Remarks did everything but win. And then it was a 3-way battle among Ivy League, Sensible Cat, and Quattroel for the minor awards. Number 4, Going Global was first. 6, Closing Remarks second. 1, Sensible Cat third. 7, Ivy League fourth, and 2, Quattroel fifth. 4, 6, 1, 7, 2 on the board. Running time 148.50 seconds. $50 pick 5, $12,418.30. Entering the Run Happy winner's circle, number 4, Going Global, a 3-year-old bay Felipe Memas out of Root, owned by Dub, Gewurz, Netwig et al. The winning trainer is Phil D'Amato. That's 2 wins today for trainer Phil D'Amato. And the jockey, Flavien Pratt. Going Global was bred in Ireland, and since coming to the United States, she's now won stakes races in February, March, and April. The running time for the Grade 3 Providencia, 1 minute 48.50 seconds.